The dust on Anna Thompson's hands had turned to mud from her own sweat, and it was only 7 in the morning when she realized the fence posts along the northern pasture had rotted through completely during the night's unexpected storm. She stood there in her worn cotton dress, the hem already brown from the dirt, staring at the splintered wood that represented just one more problem in an endless stream of disasters that had plagued her small farm outside Silver Reef, Utah, since her father had died 6 months ago. The morning sun was already promising another scorching day, and Anna had exactly 3 hours before she needed to be at the general store in town for her first shift, then the saloon for the evening crowd, and if she was lucky, she might catch a few hours of sleep before dawn brought her back to mucking stalls at the Hendersons' ranch on the edge of town. Anna wiped her forehead with the back of her hand, leaving a streak of dirt across her sun-bronzed skin. She was 22 years old, and some days she felt ancient. The farm had been in her family for 15 years, since 1869, when her parents had scraped together enough money to buy the 40 acres of stubborn Utah soil. Her mother had died when Anna was 12, leaving just her and her father to work the land. They had managed, barely, growing enough wheat and keeping enough chickens and a few head of cattle to make ends meet. But then her father had been thrown from a spooked horse last October, breaking his neck instantly, and Anna had been left with the farm, the animals, a mortgage payment due to the bank every month, and absolutely no idea how she was going to survive. She had tried to manage the farm alone at first, truly tried. But between the planting and the harvesting, the feeding and the doctoring of animals, the endless repairs that a property demanded, and the fact that she was one woman with only 2 hands and 24 hours in a day, it became painfully clear that she could not do it all. The first job had come out of desperation when she was 2 weeks late on the mortgage. Mrs. Chen at the general store had needed help with inventory and managing the front counter. Anna had swallowed her pride and asked for the position, working 6 days a week from 9 until 3 in the afternoon. It had not been enough. The second job came a month later, waitressing at the Silver Spur Saloon. The owner, a gruff man named Pete Morrison, had been hesitant to hire a respectable young woman to work among the drinking men and occasional gamblers, but Anna had convinced him she could handle herself. She worked 5 nights a week, from 6 in the evening until midnight, serving drinks and food, dodging grabbing hands, and collecting tips that she hoarded like gold. Still, it was not enough. The third job had started just 6 weeks ago. The Henderson family owned the largest ranch in the area, and they needed someone to help with the morning feeding and stall cleaning. Anna had begun waking at 4 in the morning, working until 7:30, then racing home to check on her own animals before heading into town for the general store. She would come home in the late afternoon, tend to her farm for a few precious hours, then go back to town for the saloon shift. She usually collapsed into bed around 1 in the morning, only to wake again at 4. It was killing her slowly, she knew. But the alternative was losing the farm, losing the only home she had ever known, losing the land her parents had poured their lives into. So she kept going, kept working, kept pushing through the exhaustion that made her bones ache and her vision blur around the edges. Anna looked at the broken fence posts again and felt something dangerous prickle behind her eyes. She could not cry. She did not have time to cry. She needed to at least patch this fence before the cattle wandered off, and she needed to do it in the next 2.5 hours. She turned toward the barn to get tools and wire, her shoulders already slumping under the weight of another impossible task. That was when she saw him. A man on horseback, silhouetted against the rising sun, sitting easy in the saddle as he walked his horse slowly up the path toward her property. Anna tensed immediately, her hand instinctively moving to the pocket of her dress where she kept a small knife. A woman alone could not be too careful, especially out here where her nearest neighbor was half a mile away. As the rider came closer, Anna could make out more details. He was tall, broad-shouldered, wearing a dark hat pulled low over his face. His horse was a beautiful chestnut mare, well cared for and clearly valuable. The man's clothes were dusty from travel but well made, and he wore his gun belt with the casual confidence of someone who knew how to use it. He stopped about 10 feet away from her, and Anna got her first good look at his face when he tipped his hat back slightly. He was perhaps 26 or 27, with strong features, deep-set eyes the color of amber, and a few days' worth of stubble along his jaw. There was something gentle in his expression, despite his rough appearance, something that made Anna's defensive posture relax slightly. "Morning, miss," he said, his voice a low drawl that spoke of Texas or maybe Oklahoma. "I apologize for riding up unannounced. I am looking for work and heard in town there might be farms out this way that could use an extra hand." Anna blinked at him, surprised. "Who told you that?" "Man at the livery stable. I just rode in last night, needed a place for my horse. Got to talking with the stable hand, mentioned I was looking for work. He said there was a farm out here that might need help, but he did not give me a name." The cowboy glanced around at the property, his gaze taking in the sagging barn roof, the broken fence, the overgrown fields. "This your place?" "It is," Anna said, lifting her chin defensively. She knew how it looked, "and I am managing just fine." The cowboy's eyes came back to her face, and she could see he was trying not to look skeptical. His gaze moved to the broken fence posts behind her, then back to her dirty hands and exhausted face. "I am sure you are," he said carefully, "but if you ever wanted some help, I am a hard worker. Good with animals, good with repairs. I can build, mend, plow, whatever needs doing." "I cannot afford to pay anyone," Anna said bluntly. There was no point in pretending otherwise. "I am barely keeping this place afloat as it is." "I am not asking for pay," the cowboy said. "Just a place to sleep, maybe in your barn if you have got the space, and meals when it is convenient." "I will work for that." Anna stared at him, completely confused. "Why would you do that?" The cowboy shifted in his saddle, looking almost uncomfortable. "I have been on the road for a while," he said finally. "Moving from place to place, taking jobs where I can find them. I am tired of drifting. I would like to settle somewhere for a bit, do some honest work, have some regular company. You look like you could use the help, and I am offering it. No strings, no expectations beyond a roof over my head and food in my belly." It was too good to be true, which meant it probably was. Anna had learned the hard way that men rarely offered something for nothing, and a young woman alone was vulnerable in ways she could not afford to ignore. "I do not know you," she said. "I do not even know your name." "Samuel Shaw," the cowboy said immediately. He touched the brim of his hat in a gesture that was almost courtly. "Most folks call me Sam. I am from Texas originally, been working ranches and farms since I was old enough to sit a horse. I can give you references if you want them, though they are scattered across 3 states. "Anna Thompson," she replied, still wary. "And I appreciate the offer, Mr. Shaw, but I am not sure it would be appropriate. A single woman and a single man, people would talk." "They would," Sam agreed easily. "But seems to me people are probably already talking, seeing as you are working yourself to the bone trying to keep this place running. At least this way you might actually succeed." Anna felt a flash of irritation at his presumption, even though he was absolutely right. "You do not know anything about my situation. I know you have got broken fences, a barn that is about to lose its roof, and fields that need tending," Sam said, gesturing around. I know you look like you have not had a full night's sleep in months. And I know that stable hand mentioned you are working 3 jobs in town just to make ends meet. That about right. Anna felt her cheeks flush. So the whole town was talking about her struggles. She should not be surprised. Silver Reef was small, barely more than a mining town really, and everyone knew everyone else's business. Even if all that is true, she said stiffly, it does not mean I should let a complete stranger move into my barn. You are right, Sam said. It does not. So how about this? I will work today, just today. No obligation on either side. You can see if I am worth a damn, and I can see if this is the kind of place I want to stay. Come evening, we can both decide if we want to continue the arrangement. If not, I will move on, no hard feelings. Anna considered this. She looked at the broken fence, at the long list of tasks she could not possibly complete before her shift at the store, at this cowboy who seemed sincere but could just as easily be a liar or worse. But she was so tired, and the offer was so tempting, and what was one day really? If he turned out to be trouble, she would send him on his way, and that would be the end of it. One day, she said finally. We will see how it goes. Sam's face broke into a smile that transformed his whole appearance, making him look younger and somehow more genuine. That is all I am asking. Where do you want me to start? Anna showed him to the broken fence posts first, explaining what had happened during the storm. Sam dismounted and examined the damage with a critical eye, running his hands over the splintered wood and testing the stability of the nearby posts. I can fix this, he said confidently. It will take a few hours, but it will hold. You have got replacement posts and wire. In the barn, Anna said, but I need to get to town soon for work. I can show you where everything is before I leave. That will work, Sam said. You go do what you need to do. I will get started here. Anna felt strange leaving a stranger alone on her property, but she genuinely did not have a choice if she was going to make it to the general store on time. She showed Sam where all the tools and materials were stored, pointed out the water pump, and explained where the boundaries of her property lay. He listened carefully, asking occasional questions, and seemed to take mental notes of everything she said. I will take care of things here, he assured her. You go on to town. When you get back this afternoon, we can talk about what else needs doing. Anna changed into her slightly less dirty dress, the one she kept for working at the store, and hitched up her father's old horse to the small wagon she used for the trip into town. As she drove away, she could not help looking back over her shoulder. Sam had already started pulling up the broken fence posts, working with steady efficiency. His horse was grazing peacefully nearby, reins trailing on the ground. It was probably a terrible idea, Anna thought as the wagon bumped along the rutted road toward Silver Reef. But terrible ideas were all she had left these days. The day at the general store dragged on with agonizing slowness. Anna helped customers, restocked shelves, and did inventory counts, all while wondering what Sam Shaw was doing back at her farm. Was he really fixing the fence, or was he robbing her blind? Would she come home to find her chickens gone, her few valuables stolen, her barn burned to the ground? Mrs. Chen noticed her distraction and asked if she was feeling well. Anna assured her she was fine, just tired, which was true enough even if it was not the whole truth. When 3 o'clock finally came and Anna was released from her shift, she practically ran to her wagon. The drive back to the farm felt twice as long as usual, and her heart was pounding with anxiety by the time her property came into view. Everything looked normal. Better than normal, actually. The fence posts along the northern pasture were all standing straight and secure, new wire gleaming in the afternoon sun. Anna could see her cattle grazing peacefully in the field, exactly where they should be. The barn doors were open, and as she pulled the wagon closer, she could hear the sound of hammering from inside. Anna climbed down from the wagon and walked cautiously into the barn. Sam was up on a ladder, nailing new boards across a section of the roof that had been leaking for months. He had stripped down to his undershirt in the heat, and she could see the muscles in his back and shoulders working as he drove the nails home with practiced precision. "You are still here," Anna said, not bothering to hide her surprise. Sam looked down at her, pausing in his work. "Said I would be. I do not make promises I cannot keep." He climbed down the ladder and reached for his shirt, pulling it back on. "Got the fence done and figured the roof was the next priority. You have been losing hay to water damage, looks like. This should fix most of the leaks, though you will probably need a complete re-roofing in the next year or two." Anna walked around the barn, looking at everything with new eyes. He had not just fixed the roof, he had swept the floor, organized the tools that had been scattered haphazardly, and even oiled some of the rusted hinges on the stall doors. The work represented hours of labor, skilled labor at that. "I do not understand," she said slowly. "Why are you doing this?" Sam shrugged, wiping sweat from his forehead. "Told you this morning. I want to stay somewhere for a while, do some good work, have some company. Your place needs the help and you seem like decent people. That is enough reason for me." "But you could get paying work anywhere," Anna protested. "I saw your horse, your gear. You are a skilled ranch hand. Any of the big spreads around here would hire you in a heartbeat." "Probably," Sam agreed. "But I have worked the big ranches. Spent the last 8 years moving from one to another, just another hired hand among dozens. It is lonely work, and at the end of the day, you are just a number to the owners. Here, I can see what I am building. I can work alongside someone who actually cares about the place. That matters to me." Anna studied his face, trying to read the truth in his expression. He met her gaze steadily, with no hint of deception or hidden motive. She wanted to believe him, wanted to trust that someone might actually help her out of simple kindness. But trust was a luxury she could not afford. "I need to tend to the animals," she said finally. "Then get ready for my evening shift at the saloon. You are welcome to stay the night in the barn, and there is stew in the house if you are hungry. Tomorrow morning we can talk more about this arrangement if you are still interested." "I am interested," Sam said, "and I will be here tomorrow morning." Anna went about her afternoon chores, hyper-aware of Sam's presence even though he kept a respectful distance. He watered his horse and settled her in one of the empty stalls, then made himself scarce while Anna fed the chickens and milked her 2 dairy cows. She found herself watching him from the corner of her eye, noting the gentle way he handled the animals, the quiet competence in every movement. After she had changed for her shift at the saloon and was heading back to the wagon, Sam appeared from the barn. "Be safe in town," he said simply. "I will keep an eye on things here." The words were casual, but they hit Anna with unexpected force. She could not remember the last time someone had expressed concern for her safety, had offered to watch over her property while she was gone. Her father had been dead for 6 months, and before that, he had been the one needing care, not providing it. She had been utterly alone, and she had not realized how heavy that loneliness was until this moment when someone offered to shoulder a tiny portion of it. "Thank you," she managed, her voice slightly rough. Then she climbed into the wagon and headed back to town before he could see the tears pricking at her eyes. The evening shift at the Silver Spur Saloon was busier than usual. A group of miners had just gotten paid and were celebrating loudly, which meant more work for Anna but also better tips. She moved through the crowded room with practiced ease, balancing trays of drinks, deflecting crude comments with sharp wit, and keeping a smile fixed on her face even though her feet were aching and her back was screaming from the day's labors. Around 10 o'clock, a stranger grabbed her wrist as she passed his table. "How about you sit with me for a while, sweetheart?" he slurred, his breath reeking of whiskey. "I am working," Anna said firmly, trying to pull away. "Let go, please." The man's grip tightened. "I said sit down. I will make it worth your while." Before Anna could reach for the knife in her pocket, another hand appeared, gripping the stranger's shoulder with clear threat. "The lady said let go," came a familiar drawl. Anna's head snapped up. Sam stood beside the table, still dressed in his work clothes but somehow looking far more dangerous than he had that afternoon. His expression was calm, but there was steel in his eyes. The drunk man looked up at Sam, assessing. Sam was taller, broader, and clearly sober. After a tense moment, the stranger released Anna's wrist and held up his hands in surrender. "No offense meant, just having some fun." "Have your fun somewhere else," Sam said quietly. He waited until the man had turned back to his drink, then looked at Anna. "You all right?" "I am fine," Anna said, rubbing her wrist. "What are you doing here?" "Came to town for supplies, figured I would stop in and see how you were managing." His eyes swept across the crowded saloon, taking in the rowdy atmosphere. "This is one of your 3 jobs," Anna felt defensive again. "I can handle myself." "I do not doubt that," Sam said, "but maybe you should not have to." Before Anna could respond, Pete Morrison appeared from behind the bar. "There a problem here?" "No problem," Sam said easily. "Just making sure Miss Thompson was all right. I will get out of your way." "You a friend of Anna's?" Pete asked, looking between them with interest. "Working on her farm," Sam replied. "Name is Samuel Shaw." Pete's expression shifted to something approving. "Good. About time she had some help out there. You staying in town tonight?" "Heading back to the farm," Sam said. "Just wanted to check in first." He tipped his hat to Anna and left, weaving through the crowd with easy grace. Anna watched him go, feeling confused and oddly touched. He had come all the way back to town just to make sure she was safe. No one had done that for her in longer than she could remember. "Seems like a good man," Pete observed, watching her face. "Where did you find him?" "He found me," Anna said softly. "Just showed up this morning looking for work." "Lucky timing," Pete said. Then he grinned. "And he is not hard on the eyes either. Could be worse things than having a handsome cowboy working your farm." Anna felt her cheeks heat. "It is not like that. He is just helping with repairs." "Sure," Pete said, clearly not believing her for a second. "Get back to work, girl. Those drinks are not going to serve themselves." Anna finished her shift in a daze, her mind replaying the moment Sam had stepped in to help her. It had been instinctive on his part, she thought. The protective gesture of someone who saw a person in trouble and simply acted. But it had been a long time since anyone had protected her, and she found herself thinking about it all the way home. When she finally pulled the wagon into the barn well after midnight, she was exhausted to the bone. The lantern was still lit in the barn, casting a warm glow through the open doors. Anna unhitched the horse and led him to his stall, moving on autopilot. "You made it back safe," Sam's voice came from the shadows, making her jump. He emerged from one of the empty stalls where he had apparently made a bed in the hay. "Sorry, did not mean to startle you." "It is all right," Anna said. "You did not have to wait up." "Wanted to make sure you got home okay," Sam said. "Those roads can be dangerous at night." Anna set down the water bucket she had been filling and turned to face him. "Why did you come to the saloon tonight?" Sam looked uncomfortable for the first time since she had met him. "I was worried," he admitted. "Working in a place like that, late at night, dealing with drunk men, just wanted to make sure you were safe." "I have been working there for months," Anna said. "I know how to handle myself." "I know," Sam said quickly. "I am not saying you do not. I just figured maybe you should not always have to handle everything alone." The words struck Anna hard, hitting some vulnerable place deep inside that she had been carefully protecting. "I do not have a choice," she said, and her voice came out more raw than she intended. "There is no one else. It is just me, trying to hold all of this together with both hands, and some days I do not think I am going to make it. Some days, I think I should just let the bank take the farm and find work somewhere as a housekeeper or a cook. Give up on all of this." She had not meant to say any of that, had not meant to reveal the depths of her exhaustion and fear. But something about Sam's steady presence, his genuine concern, had cracked open the walls she kept around herself. "But you have not given up," Sam said quietly. "You keep fighting. That takes real strength, Anna." It was the first time he had used her given name, and hearing it in his low drawl did something strange to her heart. "Some days I do not feel very strong," she admitted. "Some days I just feel tired." "Then let me help," Sam said. "I know you do not know me, and I know you have got every reason to be cautious. But I promise you, I am here for the right reasons. Let me take some of the weight off your shoulders. You do not have to do this alone anymore." Anna looked at him in the lamplight, this cowboy who had appeared out of nowhere and seemed determined to help her for nothing but her company. She knew she should send him away, knew it was reckless to trust a stranger. But she was so tired of being alone, so tired of fighting every battle by herself. "All right," she whispered. "Stay, help me save this place. But I need you to understand something. I cannot pay you, not for a long time, maybe not ever. All I can offer is food and a place to sleep and the company you said you wanted." "That is all I am asking for," Sam said, and the relief in his voice sounded genuine. "We will save this farm, Anna. I promise you that." Anna nodded, not trusting herself to speak past the lump in her throat. She finished settling the horse and then bid Sam good night, walking back to her small house in the darkness. As she lay in bed that night, too tired to even properly undress, she thought about the way Sam had said "we." Not you or I, but we. As if they were in this together now. She fell asleep thinking that maybe, just maybe, things were about to get better. The next morning, Anna woke to the sound of the rooster crowing and the smell of coffee drifting through her window. She sat up in bed, confused and disoriented. She had not made coffee last night, had been too exhausted to do anything but collapse into bed. She dressed quickly and stepped out onto her front porch. Sam was there, sitting on the steps with a steaming cup in his hands, watching the sun rise over the eastern hills. He had clearly been up for a while, his hair was damp as if he had washed at the pump, and he was wearing clean clothes. "Morning," he said, glancing back at her. "Coffee is still hot if you want some. I made it in your kitchen, hope you do not mind, figured you could use it." Anna stared at him, then at the coffee pot sitting on a flat stone near a small fire he had built. "You made me coffee," seemed like the decent thing to do, Sam said with a slight smile. "You have got a long day ahead." Anna poured herself a cup and sat down on the steps beside him, careful to maintain a respectable distance. The coffee was strong and hot, exactly what she needed. They sat in companionable silence for a few minutes, watching the sky lighten from pink to gold. "I have been thinking," Sam said eventually, "about your 3 jobs. Seems to me that if we can get this farm running properly, you could quit at least one of them, maybe 2. You have got good land here, just needs some work. We could expand the vegetable garden, increase your chicken flock, maybe get a few more dairy cows. With steady production, you could sell eggs, milk, butter, vegetables in town. Build up a regular customer base." Anna had thought of all this before, but it had been impossible when she was working alone. "That would take time," she said. "Time I do not have because I am working all those jobs." "Right," Sam agreed. "But now you have got help, so here is what I am thinking. I will handle the heavy labor on the farm, all the repairs and building and plowing that needs doing. You keep your jobs for now because you need the income. But every spare hour you have, you invest in the farm. We work together to build it up, and once it is producing enough, you start cutting back on the other work. In a few months, maybe you are down to 1 job instead of 3. In a year, maybe you do not need those jobs at all. It sounded too good to be true, like a dream Anna had given up on months ago. "And what do you get out of all this?" she asked. "You will be working yourself to death just like I have been." Sam was quiet for a long moment. "Honestly," he said finally, "I get a purpose. I get to build something that matters, and I get your company, which I am finding I value more than I expected to." Anna felt her cheeks warm at that. "You do not even know me." "I would like to," Sam said, meeting her eyes, "if that is all right with you." There was something in his gaze that made Anna's breath catch. Not just attraction, though she was not blind to the fact that Sam was a handsome man, but something deeper, a genuine interest in her as a person, not just as a woman he might pursue. It had been a long time since anyone had looked at her like that. "I should get to the Hendersons' ranch," Anna said, breaking eye contact before she did something foolish like blush even harder. "I need to be there by 4. "I will come with you," Sam said. "I can help with the morning work. Cut your time in half. Then we will come back here and I will start on the barn repairs while you head to the store." Anna wanted to protest that he did not need to do that, but the practical part of her brain was already calculating how much time that would save her. "All right," she said. "Let me get ready." They rode to the Henderson ranch together, Anna on her horse and Sam on his beautiful chestnut mare. The Hendersons were surprised to see Anna arrive with a companion, but Sam introduced himself politely and explained that he was helping Miss Thompson with her farm. Young James Henderson, the family's eldest son, looked Sam over with obvious approval. "Good," James said. "We have been worried about Anna working herself to death. Welcome to have the help, Shaw. You know your way around a stable." "Yes, sir," Sam said. "Worked ranches most of my life." Together, Anna and Sam made quick work of the morning feeding and stall cleaning. What usually took Anna nearly 3.5 hours was done in less than 2 with Sam's help. He was efficient and skilled, working with the smooth rhythm of someone who had done these tasks thousands of times. The Hendersons were impressed enough that James pulled Anna aside before they left. "That fellow seems solid," James said quietly. "You sure about having him on your property?" "He has been nothing but respectful," Anna said. "And I need the help, James. You know I do." "I know," James sighed. "Just want to make sure you are safe." "Your father would have wanted someone looking out for you." Anna felt a pang at the mention of her father, but also gratitude for James's concern. The Hendersons had been good neighbors and good friends to her family over the years. "I am being careful," she promised, "but I think Sam is genuine. I think he really does just want to help." Over the following weeks, a pattern emerged. Anna would wake early and work with Sam at the Henderson ranch, then return to her own farm for an hour or 2 of work before heading to the general store. Sam would spend those hours making repairs, building new structures, and slowly transforming the farm from a barely functioning disaster into something that looked organized and productive. Anna would come home in the late afternoon, change clothes, and help Sam with whatever project he was working on until it was time for her shift at the saloon. Sam kept his promise about the saloon too. Several nights a week, he would ride into town and spend the evening at the Silver Spur, nursing a single beer and keeping a watchful eye on Anna as she worked. The other patrons learned quickly not to bother her when the tall cowboy was around, and Anna found herself feeling safer than she had in months. They talked during those stolen hours, working side by side on the farm. Sam told her about growing up on a small ranch in Texas, the youngest of 4 boys. His family had lost everything in a bad drought when he was 16, forcing them to sell the land and scatter. His parents had gone to live with Sam's older brother in Kansas, while Sam had taken to the road, working where he could, never staying anywhere long enough to put down roots. "I think I was running from something," Sam admitted one evening as they worked on reinforcing the chicken coop. "Every time I started to feel settled somewhere, I would get restless and move on. Told myself I was looking for the right place, but really I was just afraid." "Afraid of what?" Anna asked, holding a board steady while Sam nailed it into place. "Afraid of failing like my parents did," Sam said. "Afraid of building something and losing it. Seemed safer to never build anything at all, to never care too much about any one place." "What changed?" Anna asked softly. Sam looked at her, and there was something raw in his expression. "I saw you standing in front of those broken fence posts, covered in dirt, looking like you were about to drop from exhaustion but still determined to fix it yourself. And I thought, that is someone who does not give up. That is someone who knows how to fight for what matters." "I wanted to be part of that. I wanted to be part of something that mattered again." Anna felt her heart clench. "The farm matters to me," she said quietly. "It is all I have left of my family. My mother and father are buried on the hill overlooking the north pasture. This land holds every memory I have of being loved and safe. I cannot lose it, Sam. I will do whatever it takes to keep it." "You will not lose it," Sam said firmly. "I swear to you, Anna, we will make this work." And slowly, miraculously, they did. The barn got a new roof that did not leak. The fences were all repaired and reinforced. Sam built a proper smokehouse for preserving meat and a larger hen house that could accommodate 3 times as many chickens. He plowed and planted 2 additional fields, putting in winter wheat that would be ready to harvest in the spring. He repaired the irrigation system that had been broken for over a year, bringing water to fields that had gone dry. Anna, for her part, threw every spare moment into building up the farm's production. She bought more chickens with her carefully hoarded tips from the saloon. She started making butter and cheese from the cow's milk, products she could sell in town for good prices. She planted a huge vegetable garden, putting in everything she could think of that would grow in Utah's climate. Sam built her raised beds and a simple greenhouse using old windows he had salvaged from a building in town. They worked together like they had been doing it for years, instead of weeks. Sam seemed to instinctively understand what Anna needed before she asked for it. Anna learned to read Sam's quiet moods, to know when he needed silence and when he needed conversation. They developed a rhythm, a partnership that felt natural and right. The people of Silver Reef noticed, of course. Mrs. Chen at the general store asked Anna pointed questions about her handsome helper. The other women at the saloon teased her mercilessly, claiming Anna had gotten herself a devoted beau. Even Pete Morrison made comments about how Sam looked at her when he thought she was not paying attention. Anna tried to dismiss it all. Sam was helping her because he wanted a place to stay and companionship, nothing more. He had never made any improper advances, never suggested that his help came with romantic expectations. They were friends and partners in the farm's restoration, but that was all. Except sometimes, Anna would catch Sam watching her with an expression she could not quite decipher. Something warm and soft that made her stomach flutter. And sometimes when they worked close together, when their hands would brush reaching for the same tool or their shoulders would touch while examining a piece of equipment, Anna would feel a spark of something that was definitely not just friendship. She tried not to think about it too much. She could not afford to develop feelings for Sam, not when she had no idea how long he planned to stay. He had been drifting for years. He had told her so himself. What if he woke up one morning and decided to move on? What if she let herself care for him, and then he disappeared, leaving her alone again? It was safer to keep things professional, to focus on the work and ignore the growing warmth in her chest whenever Sam smiled at her. 8 weeks after Sam had first arrived, Anna came home from the general store to find him standing in front of the barn with his arms crossed, looking immensely pleased with himself. "Come here," he called when he saw her. "I want to show you something." Anna climbed down from the wagon and walked over, curious. "What is it?" "Close your eyes," Sam said, and there was such boyish excitement in his voice that Anna could not help but comply. She felt him take her hand gently, his calloused fingers warm against hers, and lead her into the barn. "All right, open them." Anna opened her eyes and gasped. The barn had been completely transformed. The stalls were all repaired and freshly painted. The tack room had been reorganized with all the equipment hanging neatly on new hooks. The hayloft had been reinforced and restocked. But most impressive was the new section Sam had built along the back wall, a proper workshop with a sturdy workbench, organized tool storage, and even a small wood stove for heating during the winter. "Sam," Anna breathed, walking slowly through the space. "This must have taken weeks." "About 6 weeks, working on it whenever I had spare time," Sam admitted. "I wanted it to be a surprise. The workshop is for you, so you have got a proper place to do repairs and maintenance without having to work in the dirt. And I reinforced the whole structure while I was at it. This barn is going to stand for another 50 years at least." Anna turned to look at him, feeling tears prick at her eyes. "I do not know what to say. This is incredible." "You do not have to say anything," Sam said softly. "I just wanted you to know that I am invested in this place, in making it the best it can be." "Why?" Anna asked, and the word came out almost like a plea. "Why are you doing all this, Sam? You could have moved on weeks ago. You have got skills. You could find paying work anywhere. Why are you still here?" Sam was quiet for a long moment, and when he spoke, his voice was low and serious. "Because I care about this farm, and I care about you, Anna. More than I probably should, given that we have only known each other a couple of months, but I cannot help it. Being here, working beside you, watching you fight so hard for what you believe in, it has changed something in me. I do not want to drift anymore. I want to stay in one place and build something that matters, and I want to do that here with you if you will have me." Anna's heart was pounding so hard she was sure Sam could hear it. "Sam, I do not know what you are asking me." "I am asking if you want me to stay," Sam said, stepping closer. "Not just for a few more weeks or months, but for as long as you will let me. I am asking if maybe this partnership we have got could become something more. Because I think I am falling in love with you, Anna Thompson, and I needed you to know that before another day passed." Anna could not breathe. She had been so carefully guarding her heart, so determined not to read too much into Sam's kindness and attention. But now he was standing in front of her, looking at her with those amber eyes full of hope and vulnerability, and she could not pretend anymore that she did not feel the same way. "I think I am falling in love with you too," she whispered. "I have been trying not to, trying to protect myself in case you left, but I cannot help it, Sam. You have made me feel less alone for the first time in months. You have made me believe that maybe I do not have to carry everything by myself, and I do not want you to go." Sam's face lit up with a smile that was brighter than the sun. He reached out slowly, giving Anna every chance to pull away, and cupped her face in his hands. "Can I kiss you?" he asked, his voice rough with emotion. "Yes," Anna breathed, and then his lips were on hers, gentle and sweet and perfect. The kiss started soft but quickly deepened, years of loneliness and longing pouring out from both of them. Anna's hands came up to grip Sam's shirt, pulling him closer, and he wrapped his arms around her waist, holding her like she was something precious and irreplaceable. When they finally pulled apart, both breathing hard, Sam rested his forehead against Anna's. "I am staying," he said firmly. "For as long as you want me, I am staying right here." "Forever," Anna said, surprised by her own boldness. "I want you to stay forever." "Forever sounds perfect," Sam said and kissed her again. They stood in the barn for a long time, holding each other, exchanging soft kisses and softer words. Anna felt like something inside her had finally unlocked, some tight knot of fear and loneliness unraveling at last. She had been alone for so long, fighting so hard just to survive, that she had forgotten what it felt like to be cared for, to be cherished. "I need to get ready for my shift at the saloon," Anna said eventually, reluctantly pulling away. "But after we are talking more about this." "I will be counting the minutes," Sam said, pressing a kiss to her forehead. Anna practically floated through her shift that night. Even the rowdiest customers could not dampen her mood. She caught herself smiling for no reason, her fingers touching her lips where Sam had kissed her. Pete noticed and raised an eyebrow but said nothing, just grinned knowingly every time their eyes met. When Anna got home that night, Sam was waiting on her front porch instead of in the barn. "I wanted to walk you to your door," he said, taking her hand. "If that is all right." "More than all right," Anna said, lacing her fingers through his. They stood on the porch in the moonlight, neither wanting to say good night. "I have been thinking," Sam said slowly, "about your 3 jobs. I think you could quit the Henderson Ranch job now. We have got the farm producing enough that you do not need that income anymore, and you need the rest, Anna. You are still working yourself too hard." Anna considered this. It was true that the farm was doing much better. With Sam's help, they had increased production significantly. The vegetable garden was thriving. The expanded chicken flock was laying well, and they had sold their first batch of butter and cheese in town to excellent reviews. And cutting out even one job would give her back her mornings, precious hours she could spend actually sleeping or working on the farm during daylight instead of the middle of the night. "All right," she said. "I will tell James Henderson tomorrow that I need to give notice. 2 weeks should be enough time for them to find someone else." "Good," Sam said, looking relieved. "That is a start. And once we get the winter wheat harvested and sold in the spring, I think you will be able to quit the general store too. Just keep the saloon job if you want, or quit that one as well and focus entirely on the farm." The idea of working just one job or even no outside jobs at all seemed impossibly luxurious. "You really think we can do that?" "I know we can," Sam said confidently. "We are a good team, Anna. Together, we can make this farm into something really special." Anna stood on her toes and kissed him, pouring all her gratitude and affection into the gesture. When they parted, Sam was looking at her with such tender warmth that it made her heart ache in the best possible way. "Good night, Sam," she whispered. "Good night, Anna," he replied. "Sweet dreams." The next morning, Anna gave her notice at the Henderson Ranch. James was understanding, even pleased that Anna's farm was doing well enough that she could cut back on her work. "Your father would be proud of you," he told her. "And that cowboy of yours seems like good people. You hold on to him." "I intend to," Anna said, blushing at the phrase, "that cowboy of yours." With her mornings suddenly free, Anna threw herself into the farm work with renewed energy. She and Sam worked side by side, planting, harvesting, and preparing for the coming winter. The physical labor was hard, but it felt different now. Instead of desperate and lonely, it felt purposeful and shared. And there was joy in it, especially when Sam would catch her around the waist and steal a kiss in the middle of mucking out a stall, or when they would take breaks to sit together in the shade, sharing water and quiet conversation. They were careful to maintain propriety, at least in public. Sam still slept in the barn, and they made sure to keep a respectable distance whenever anyone from town visited. But in private, when it was just the two of them, they allowed themselves the sweetness of new love. Long conversations that stretched late into the night, hands held while watching the sunset. Kisses that grew increasingly passionate before one of them reluctantly pulled away. "I want to do this right," Sam told Anna one evening when they were both breathing hard, flushed from kissing on her front porch. "I want to court you properly, make sure everyone knows my intentions are honorable. You deserve that. What are your intentions?" Anna asked, though she thought she knew. "To marry you," Sam said simply. "If you will have me, not right away, I know we have not known each other that long, but someday when you are ready, I want you to be my wife." Anna felt tears spring to her eyes. "I want that too," she said. "Someday soon." As autumn deepened into winter, the farm continued to thrive. They harvested the last of the vegetables and preserved them for the cold months ahead. The chickens kept laying, providing a steady income from egg sales. The dairy cows produced well, and Anna's butter and cheese had become popular items at the general store. Mrs. Chen told Anna she could not keep them in stock. People were buying them as fast as she could make them. The first real test came in late November when an early blizzard swept through Silver Reef. The temperature plummeted, and snow fell for 3 days straight. Anna worried about the animals, about the structures Sam had built, about whether they had prepared adequately for the harsh Utah winter. But Sam had thought of everything. The barn was warm and secure, the animals safe and comfortable. He had stockpiled enough feed and hay to last months. The house stayed warm thanks to the wood Sam had chopped and stacked throughout the fall. They were snowed in for nearly a week, but instead of being frightened or stressed, Anna found herself enjoying the forced isolation. She and Sam spent the days tending to the animals and the evenings in her small house, sitting by the fire and talking about everything and nothing. Sam taught her card games he had learned working the ranches. Anna taught him her mother's recipes for bread and stew. They read to each other from the few books Anna owned, taking turns with chapters while the snow piled up outside. It felt like playing house, Anna thought. Like they were already married, already building a life together. And she found she wanted that with an intensity that surprised her. She had never thought much about marriage before her father's death, too focused on survival to consider romance. But now, with Sam, she could imagine a future. Children running through the fields, growing old together, building something that would last beyond their own lives. "What are you thinking about?" Sam asked one evening, catching her staring into the fire with a distant expression. "The future," Anna admitted. "Our future." "What does it look like?" Sam asked softly. Anna turned to look at him, this man who had appeared in her life like an answer to a prayer she had not known how to voice. "It looks like this," she said. "You and me, the farm thriving, maybe children someday, a whole life built together." Sam pulled her close, tucking her against his side. "That sounds perfect," he murmured into her hair. "That sounds like everything I have ever wanted." When the snow finally melted enough for travel, Anna went into town for her shift at the saloon. People were buzzing about the storm, sharing stories of close calls and damage. But Anna's farm had weathered it perfectly, thanks to Sam's thorough preparations. She could not help the pride in her voice when she told people that everything had been fine, that they had been completely ready for the blizzard. "That man of yours knows what he is doing," Pete Morrison said approvingly. "You planning to make an honest woman of yourself and marry him?" Anna blushed furiously. "We have only known each other 4 months, Pete." "When you know," Pete said with a shrug. "My wife and I got married after knowing each other 6 weeks. That was 30 years ago, and I have never regretted it for a second." Sometimes you meet someone and you just know they are the one. Seems to me you have got that with Shaw. Anna could not argue with that. She did know. Despite the short time they had known each other, she could not imagine her life without Sam anymore. He had become essential to her happiness, as necessary as air and water. Christmas came, and Anna and Sam celebrated quietly on the farm. Anna had saved enough money to buy Sam a new pair of work gloves and a warm coat for the winter. Sam had carved her a beautiful jewelry box from scrap wood, inlaid with delicate designs that must have taken hours of painstaking work. "It is beautiful," Anna breathed, running her fingers over the smooth wood. "When did you have time to make this?" "Late at night when you were at the saloon," Sam admitted. "I wanted you to have something special, something that showed how much you mean to me." Anna kissed him, slow and sweet, trying to pour all her love into the gesture. When they pulled apart, Sam was looking at her with such intensity that it made her shiver. "I love you," he said, and it was not the first time he had said it, but it hit her just as powerfully as it had the first time. "I love you, Anna Thompson, and I want to spend the rest of my life showing you how much." "I love you too," Anna whispered back. "So much it scares me sometimes." "Do not be scared," Sam said gently. "I am not going anywhere. This is where I belong with you." As winter slowly gave way to early spring, plans were made for the wheat harvest. Sam had been right. The fields were looking good, and they were expecting a strong yield. If they could sell the wheat for a decent price, Anna would finally have enough to be completely caught up on her mortgage payments with money left over for savings. It was almost too good to be true, too perfect. Anna kept waiting for something to go wrong, for disaster to strike. She had learned through hard experience that life rarely went smoothly for long. The disaster, when it came, was not what she expected. Anna was working at the general store on a mild March afternoon when the bank manager, Mr. Thornton, walked in. He was a severe man in his 50s, always impeccably dressed and perpetually frowning. Anna had dealt with him several times regarding her mortgage, and each interaction had been unpleasant. "Miss Thompson," he said, spotting her behind the counter, "I need to speak with you. Privately, if possible." Anna's heart sank. Nothing good ever came from those words. She asked Mrs. Chen if she could step outside for a moment, and the older woman nodded sympathetically. On the wooden sidewalk outside the store, Mr. Thornton wasted no time. "I am here to inform you that your mortgage has been sold," he said bluntly. "The bank no longer holds the note on your property." Anna felt like the ground had dropped out from under her. "Sold to whom?" "A Mr. Gerald Whitmore. He is a businessman from Salt Lake City, buying up properties in the area. He now holds the deed to your farm, and he has instructed me to inform you that he expects full payment of the remaining mortgage within 90 days, or he will foreclose." 90 days. Anna's voice came out as a shocked whisper. "But I have been making my payments. I am not in default." "The contract allows for the mortgage holder to call in the full loan at any time," Mr. Thornton said, though he had the grace to look somewhat uncomfortable. "It is a standard clause. Mr. Whitmore is exercising that right. You have 90 days to pay the full remaining balance, which comes to $840, or the property will be seized and sold at auction." $840. It might as well have been $8,000. Even with the wheat harvest, even with all the progress they had made, Anna did not have that kind of money. "This is not fair," she said, her voice shaking. "I have been working myself to the bone to keep up with those payments." "I am sorry, Miss Thompson," Mr. Thornton said, and he actually did sound slightly sorry. "But business is business. You have 90 days. He tipped his hat and walked away, leaving Anna standing on the sidewalk feeling like her world had just shattered. Everything she and Sam had worked for, all the progress they had made, and it was still not enough. She was going to lose the farm anyway. Anna made it through the rest of her shift on autopilot, her mind racing with desperate calculations. Even if they sold every single thing they had, every chicken, every cow, every bit of equipment, they would not come close to $840. The wheat would not be ready to harvest for at least another 6 weeks, and even then, the profit would not be enough. She was going to lose her parents' farm. She was going to lose her home. When she got back to the farm that evening, Sam took one look at her face and immediately pulled her into his arms. What happened? Anna told him everything, her voice breaking as she explained about the mortgage being sold and the impossible demand for full payment. Sam held her through it all, his arms tight around her, his expression growing darker with every word. "We will figure this out," he said when she finished. "There has to be a way." "There is not," Anna said dully. "We do not have that kind of money, Sam. Even with the harvest, we will be lucky to clear $300 after expenses. We are going to lose everything." "No," Sam said firmly. "I am not letting that happen. We will find a way, Anna. I promise you." But as the days passed, it became increasingly clear that there was no way. They ran the numbers 100 different times, tried every possible solution they could think of. Sam even rode to Salt Lake City to try to speak with Gerald Whitmore directly, to plead for more time or negotiate better terms. But Whitmore refused to see him, and his secretary made it clear that the terms were non-negotiable. 75 days into the 90-day deadline, with the wheat still 2 weeks from harvest, Anna finally accepted the inevitable. She was going to lose the farm. All her work, all her sacrifice, all of Sam's help, and it still was not enough. "I am so sorry," she told Sam one evening as they sat on the porch, watching the sunset over fields they would soon lose. "You gave up months of your life to help me, and it was all for nothing." "It was not for nothing," Sam said fiercely. "Anna, listen to me. I did not stay here for the farm. I stayed here for you. And whether we have this land or not, I still want to be with you. We will find another place, start over somewhere else. As long as we are together, we will be all right." "But this was my parents' farm," Anna said, tears streaming down her face. "Their graves are on that hill. How can I just walk away from that?" Sam pulled her close, and Anna sobbed against his chest, grieving for the loss of her home and her family's legacy. They sat there until full dark, holding each other, trying to find comfort in their shared sorrow. The next morning, Anna woke to find Sam already gone, which was unusual. His horse was missing from the barn. She assumed he had gone into town for supplies and went about her morning chores, moving mechanically through tasks that suddenly felt pointless. Sam did not return until late afternoon, riding hard and looking grimly determined. He dismounted and strode directly to where Anna was working in the garden. "I have the money," he said without preamble. Anna stared at him. "What?" "I have the money to pay off the mortgage," Sam said. $840. I can give it to the bank tomorrow." Anna felt like her heart had stopped. "How? Where did you get that kind of money?" Sam looked uncomfortable. "I sold my horse and my saddle, my gun too, the rifle and the pistol. And I cashed in some things I had been saving, a pocket watch that belonged to my grandfather, a few other pieces. I rode to 3 different towns to get the best prices, but I got it. We can save the farm." Anna could not breathe. Sam's horse, his beautiful chestnut mare that he clearly loved. His guns, which were essential tools for any man working the land. His grandfather's watch, a family heirloom. He had sold everything he owned of value to save her farm. "Sam, no," she whispered. "You cannot do that. Those things were yours. They were important to you." "You are more important," Sam said simply. "The farm is more important. Those were just things, Anna. This place, our life here, that is real. That matters. I can get a new horse eventually, new guns. But I cannot replace you, and I cannot stand by and watch you lose your home when I have the means to prevent it. But you gave up everything, Anna said, tears spilling over. How can I ever repay you for that? You do not need to repay me, Sam said, cupping her face in his hands. Anna, do you not understand yet? Everything I have is yours. Everything I am is yours. We are in this together for better or worse. Your fight is my fight. Your home is my home. I love you, and I will do whatever it takes to make you happy. Anna could not speak past the lump in her throat. She threw her arms around Sam's neck and held on tight, overwhelmed by the depth of his sacrifice and his love for her. I love you so much, she managed to choke out. So much, Sam. Then say you will marry me, Sam said into her hair. Not someday, not eventually. Soon. Say you will be my wife, Anna. Yes, Anna said, pulling back to look at him through her tears. Yes, I will marry you, as soon as we can arrange it. Sam kissed her, and it was different from their previous kisses. This was a claiming, a promise, a sealing of vows not yet spoken but deeply felt. Anna kissed him back with everything she had, pouring all her love and gratitude and hope into the embrace. They rode into town together the next day and paid off the mortgage in full. Mr. Thornton looked surprised to see them with the money, but he processed the payment and provided Anna with the paperwork showing the mortgage was satisfied. The farm was hers, free and clear. Walking out of the bank, Anna felt like she could breathe fully for the first time in months. The weight that had been crushing her was finally, miraculously gone. She owned her land outright. She was going to marry the man she loved. Everything was going to be all right. They stopped by the church to speak with Pastor Davies about arranging a wedding. The kindly old minister was delighted to hear of their engagement and suggested a simple ceremony the following Sunday, which would give them a week to prepare and spread the word. It is not going to be fancy, Anna warned Sam as they left the church. I do not have money for a special dress or a big celebration. I do not need fancy, Sam said, lacing his fingers through hers as they walked down the street. I just need you. The week passed in a blur of preparation. Anna gave notice at both her remaining jobs, explaining that she was getting married and would be focusing entirely on the farm from now on. Pete Morrison insisted on hosting a small reception at the saloon after the ceremony, refusing to take no for an answer. Mrs. Chen gifted Anna a beautiful length of ivory lace that could be made into a simple veil. The Henderson family offered to provide the food for the reception, and several other neighbors contributed items or help as word of the wedding spread through Silver Reef. It turned out Anna and Sam had more friends and well-wishers than she had realized. People who had watched her struggle after her father's death, who had worried about her working herself to exhaustion, who were genuinely happy to see her finding love and security. The small community came together to make sure their wedding would be special, even if it was simple. On Sunday morning, Anna stood in her small bedroom wearing her mother's wedding dress, which she had carefully altered to fit. The ivory lace Mrs. Chen had given her was arranged as a veil, held in place with wildflowers that James Henderson's wife had helped her gather. She looked at herself in the mirror and thought that her mother would have been happy to see this day. The ceremony was held at the small church in Silver Reef, with what seemed like the entire town in attendance. Anna walked down the aisle alone, carrying a simple bouquet of more wildflowers, her eyes locked on Sam waiting for her at the altar. He was wearing his best clothes, which were not much, but he had shaved and cleaned up, and he looked at Anna like she was the most beautiful thing he had ever seen. Pastor Davies led them through the traditional vows. Anna's voice shook as she promised to love, honor, and cherish Samuel Shaw for the rest of her life. Sam's voice was steady and strong as he made the same promises to her. When the pastor pronounced them husband and wife, Sam kissed her gently, sweetly, sealing their marriage before God and the community. The reception at the Silver Spur Saloon was loud and joyful. Someone had brought a fiddle, and there was dancing and singing and more food than Anna had seen in months. People came up to congratulate them, to wish them well, to express their happiness at seeing Anna finally getting the help and support she deserved. "You did good, girl," Pete Morrison told her, pulling her aside for a quiet moment. "That man of yours is solid gold. You hold on to him." "I intend to," Anna said, smiling as she watched Sam across the room, laughing at something James Henderson had said. "For the rest of my life." That night, Sam carried Anna over the threshold of her house, their house now, and set her down gently in the small bedroom. They made love slowly, tenderly, learning each other's bodies and whispering promises against flushed skin. Afterward, lying tangled together in the narrow bed, Anna felt a peace she had not experienced in years. "Are you happy?" Sam asked softly, his fingers tracing patterns on her bare shoulder. "Happier than I ever thought possible," Anna admitted. "6 months ago, I thought I was going to lose everything. Now I have more than I ever dreamed of. A farm that is finally thriving, a husband I love beyond measure. It feels like a miracle." "You are my miracle," Sam said, pressing a kiss to her temple. "The day I rode up to this farm was the best day of my life. I finally found where I belong." "With me," Anna whispered. "With you," Sam agreed. "Always with you." The following months proved Anna right about the farm's potential. With both of them working full-time, they not only survived but thrived. The wheat harvest was excellent, bringing in enough profit to replenish their savings and buy Sam a new horse, a strong gelding he named Copper. The vegetable gardens produced abundantly, and Anna's butter and cheese business grew to the point where she was supplying 3 different stores in the area. They bought more dairy cows, expanded the chicken flock again, and even acquired a few pigs. Sam built a proper workshop and started doing carpentry work for other farms in the area, bringing in additional income. Anna began experimenting with preserves and jams, which proved popular at the general store. By their first anniversary, the farm was completely self-sustaining and generating healthy profits. They no longer had to worry about making ends meet or scraping by from month to month. For the first time in Anna's adult life, she felt financially secure. But the greatest joy came on a cold January morning, almost exactly a year and a half after Sam had first arrived at the farm. Anna woke feeling queasy and had to run outside to be sick. Sam found her leaning against the side of the house, pale and shaking. "Are you all right?" he asked, immediately concerned. "Should I ride for the doctor?" "No," Anna said slowly, a smile spreading across her face despite the lingering nausea. "No, I think I am more than all right. I think I might be pregnant." Sam's eyes went wide, and then he let out a whoop of joy that probably scared the chickens. He picked Anna up and spun her around, laughing and kissing her face. "We are going to have a baby?" he asked, setting her down carefully as if she might break. "I think so," Anna said, tears of happiness streaming down her face. "We should probably confirm it with the doctor, but I am fairly certain." The doctor did confirm it later that week. Anna was about 2 months along, which meant the baby would arrive in late summer. Sam became impossibly protective, trying to prevent Anna from doing any heavy work, despite her insistence that she was perfectly capable. They compromised, with Anna handling lighter tasks and Sam taking on the more strenuous labor. As Anna's belly grew, so did their excitement. They converted the small storage room off their bedroom into a nursery, with Sam building a beautiful cradle from oak wood. Anna sewed blankets and tiny clothes, working by lamplight in the evenings while Sam read to her from the newspaper or whatever book they were currently sharing. "What do you want to name the baby?" Sam asked one evening, his hand resting on Anna's rounded stomach as they lay in bed. "If it is a girl, I would like to name her Sarah after my mother," Anna said. "And if it is a boy, maybe Samuel after you." "Not Samuel," Sam said immediately. "Too confusing with both of us having the same name. How about Thomas after your father?" Anna felt tears spring to her eyes. Her father's name had been Thomas, and the idea of honoring his memory this way was deeply moving. "Thomas Shaw," she said softly. "I love it, but what if it is a girl?" "Sarah Shaw sounds nice too." "Then we will have the most beautiful daughter in all of Utah," Sam said, pressing a kiss to her belly. "Either way, we are going to be parents. That still does not feel real." The baby arrived on a sweltering August afternoon, after 12 hours of hard labor that left Anna exhausted, but exhilarated. Sam held her hand through it all, offering water and encouragement, and refusing to leave even when the midwife suggested he might be more comfortable waiting outside. When the baby finally emerged, red-faced and squalling, the midwife announced, "It is a boy, a healthy, strong boy." Anna sobbed with relief and joy as the midwife placed the baby on her chest. He was perfect, absolutely perfect, with a shock of dark hair and Sam's amber eyes. Sam leaned over them both, his own eyes wet with tears, and kissed Anna's forehead. "Thomas," Anna whispered, looking down at their son. "Thomas Samuel Shaw." "I thought you said not Samuel," Sam said, but he was smiling. "I changed my mind," Anna said. "He should have both his grandfather's names." Little Thomas was a fussy baby for the first few weeks, keeping them both up at all hours with his crying. But Anna and Sam stumbled through new parenthood together, learning as they went, taking turns walking the floor with their son in the middle of the night. Watching Sam with their baby was one of Anna's greatest joys. He was so gentle, so patient, singing soft songs to Thomas when he fussed, and cradling him with a tenderness that made Anna fall in love with her husband all over again. The farm work continued around the new baby. They learned to work in shifts, with one of them handling Thomas while the other managed the chores. It was exhausting but also deeply fulfilling. This was the life Anna had dreamed of during those dark months after her father's death, when she had been working 3 jobs and slowly losing hope. A thriving farm, a loving husband, a beautiful child. It was everything. Thomas was 6 months old when Anna realized she was pregnant again. She had not expected it to happen so quickly, but apparently they were a fertile pair. Sam was delighted, immediately talking about adding another room to the house to accommodate their growing family. Their daughter Sarah was born the following spring, an easy labor compared to Thomas. She came into the world quietly, with her mother's dark hair and a serious expression that made the midwife laugh. "This one is going to be thoughtful," she predicted. With 2 children under 2 years old, life became even more chaotic, but Anna had never been happier. She would sometimes stop in the middle of her day, a baby on her hip and a toddler clinging to her skirts, and just marvel at how much her life had changed. It had been 3 years since that morning when Sam Shaw had ridden up to her farm looking for work. 3 years since she had been alone and desperate, working herself to death to keep her parents' land. Now she had a partner in every sense of the word, 2 beautiful children, and a farm that was prospering beyond her wildest dreams. "What are you thinking about?" Sam asked one evening as they sat on the porch, watching Thomas and Sarah play in the yard. Thomas was 3 now, running around with boundless energy, while Sarah toddled after him on chubby legs. "How lucky I am," Anna said, leaning against her husband's shoulder. How different everything could have been if you had not shown up that day. I was the lucky one, Sam countered. I was drifting, going nowhere until I found you. You gave me a home, Anna. You gave me a purpose and a family and a reason to stay in one place. I am the one who got lucky. We both did, Anna said, tilting her face up for a kiss. We got lucky together. As the sun set over their land, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink, Anna felt a deep contentment settle over her. The farm her parents had built was safe, thriving, and would one day be passed down to Thomas and Sarah. The land that held so many memories, both joyful and sorrowful, would continue to be loved and worked by future generations. But more than that, Anna had found something she had not even known she was looking for. A love that was steady and true, a partner who stood beside her through every challenge, a man who had looked at her broken fences and exhausted face and chosen to stay, asking for nothing but her company. Sam called the children in for supper, scooping Sarah up while Thomas ran ahead into the house. Anna followed her family inside, her heart full to bursting with love and gratitude. She had worked 3 jobs to keep her farm, and a cowboy had offered help and asked for nothing but her company. In return, they had built a life together that was richer than any amount of money could buy. The dishes clattered as they prepared the evening meal together, Sam bouncing Sarah on his hip while Anna helped Thomas wash his hands. It was ordinary, domestic, perfectly imperfect. It was everything. Years continued to pass in a blur of seasons and growth. Thomas grew into a serious, thoughtful boy who loved helping his father with the carpentry work. Sarah developed a gift for working with animals, able to calm even the most skittish horse with her gentle touch. 2 more children joined the family, another boy named James and a daughter called Rose, rounding out their brood to 4 children who kept the farmhouse lively and loud. The farm continued to prosper under Anna and Sam's careful management. They became known throughout the region for the quality of their produce and dairy products. Sam's carpentry business grew to the point where he was traveling to neighboring towns to take on special projects, though he never stayed away from home longer than a few days. Anna became something of a businesswoman herself, expanding her preserves and baked goods production until she was supplying stores across 3 counties. She hired help occasionally, young women from town who needed work, and took pride in providing them with fair wages and respectful working conditions. On their 10th wedding anniversary, Sam surprised Anna with a trip to Salt Lake City, their first time away from the farm since Thomas had been born. They left the children with the Henderson family and spent 3 glorious days acting like newlyweds again, staying in a nice hotel and exploring the city. On their last evening, as they walked through the streets hand in hand, Sam pulled Anna to a stop in front of a jewelry store window. "I want to buy you something," he said. "A proper wedding ring. I never gave you one when we got married because I did not have the money then." Anna looked down at her bare left hand. She had never minded not having a ring, had understood that there were more important priorities when they married. But the idea of having a symbol of their union, something tangible she could look at and touch, was appealing. They went inside, and Anna chose a simple gold band that fit perfectly on her finger. Sam chose a matching one for himself, and they stood there in the jewelry store, placing the rings on each other's fingers like they were renewing their vows. "With this ring, I promise to love you for the rest of my life," Sam said softly, his amber eyes locked on Anna's face. "With this ring, I promise the same," Anna replied, tears gathering in her eyes. "For the rest of my life and beyond." Samuel Shaw, the jeweler, an older gentleman who had been watching the exchange with a knowing smile, refused to charge them full price. "Young love like that deserves a discount," he said, waving away their protests. "You remind me of my wife and me 40 years ago. Hold on to what you have got, it is precious and rare." On the trip back to Silver Reef, Anna kept looking at the ring on her finger, still amazed by how it caught the light. "I love it," she told Sam for probably the 10th time. "Not as much as I love you," Sam replied, and even after 10 years of marriage, the words still made Anna's heart flutter. They arrived home to chaos. The children had apparently decided to help with the farm chores and had managed to let half the chickens escape, spill a bucket of milk, and somehow get one of the pigs into the house. The Hendersons were apologetic and frazzled, but Anna and Sam just laughed, gathering their children for hugs and kisses. "Did you miss us?" Anna asked Sarah, who had wrapped herself around her mother's waist like a barnacle. "So much," Sarah said earnestly, "but we had an adventure. James said we were in charge and we tried really hard to do everything right." "I can see that," Sam said dryly, eyeing the mud tracks across the kitchen floor where the pig had apparently made its entrance. But he was smiling, ruffling James's hair with obvious affection. Life settled back into its comfortable rhythm. The children grew older, taking on more responsibilities around the farm. Thomas, at 12, could handle a plow almost as well as his father. Sarah, at 10, had started training a young horse, working with the animal every day with patience and skill. James and Rose, the babies at 8 and 6 respectively, helped with gathering eggs, feeding chickens, and other age-appropriate tasks. Anna sometimes thought about those desperate days when she had been alone, working herself to exhaustion, watching her father's dreams slowly slip away. It felt like another lifetime, like it had happened to a different person. She could barely remember what it felt like to be that afraid, that lonely. One evening, as she and Sam sat on the porch after the children had gone to bed, watching the stars come out over the Utah desert, Anna voiced this thought. "Sometimes I can hardly remember what it was like before you came," she said. "Before you, there was just work and worry and fear. Now there is joy and partnership and love. You saved me, Sam." "We saved each other," Sam corrected gently. "I was lost before I found you, Anna, drifting from place to place, never belonging anywhere. You gave me a home and a purpose. You gave me everything that matters." "I gave you 3 jobs worth of farm work and a failing property," Anna pointed out with a smile. "You gave me yourself," Sam said. "Your company, your trust, your love. That was all I wanted, and it turned out to be everything I needed." Anna thought about the young cowboy who had ridden up to her broken fence posts all those years ago, offering to work for nothing but a place to sleep and her company. She had been so suspicious, so wary of his motives. But he had meant exactly what he said, had wanted nothing more than to be near her, to help her, to share her life. "I am so grateful you found me," Anna whispered. "Best day of my life," Sam replied, pulling her close. "And every day since has been a gift." They sat in comfortable silence, listening to the night sounds of the farm they had built together. In the distance, an owl hooted. One of the cows lowed softly in the barn. A coyote called from the hills, its cry echoing across the desert. Anna looked at the ring on her finger, gleaming faintly in the starlight. She thought about her parents, buried on the hill overlooking the north pasture, and hoped they could somehow see what had become of their farm, their legacy. It had survived, had thrived, and would continue on through their grandchildren and great-grandchildren yet to come. "I love you," Anna said, the words as true now as they had been the first time she had spoken them, standing in the barn with dust motes dancing in the air around them. "I love you too," Sam replied. "Always have, always will." And in that moment, sitting on the porch of the home they had saved together, surrounded by the life they had built, Anna knew that she had everything she had ever needed. A farm that was thriving, children who were healthy and happy, and a partner who had looked at her struggling and afraid and chosen to stay, asking for nothing but her company and giving her the whole world in return. It was more than enough. It was everything. The years continued to unfold, each one bringing new challenges and new joys. They weathered droughts and good harvests, sick animals and healthy births, hard winters and gentle springs. Through it all, Anna and Sam stood together, facing everything as partners just as they had from the very beginning. Thomas married at 22, bringing home a sweet young woman named Elizabeth from Silver Reef. They built a house on the far corner of the property, and Thomas took over more of the daily farm operations as Sam began to slow down with age. Sarah never married, content instead to run the horse breeding program she had developed, which had become quite profitable. James went to school in Salt Lake City and became a teacher, though he visited often and helped with the farm during summers. Rose married a doctor and moved to Denver, but she brought her children to visit every year, filling the farmhouse with laughter and chaos. Anna and Sam became grandparents, then great-grandparents. Their hair turned gray, then white. Their hands became gnarled with arthritis, their steps slower. But their love never diminished, never faded. If anything, it grew stronger with each passing year, deepened by shared experiences and weathered storms. On their 50th wedding anniversary, the entire family gathered at the farm for a celebration. 3 generations filled the property, children running through the fields where Anna had once struggled alone, grandchildren and great-grandchildren learning the same land their ancestors had fought to preserve. Anna stood on the porch, now 72 years old, and looked out at her legacy. Not just the farm, though it was still thriving under Thomas and Elizabeth's management, but the family they had created, the love they had nurtured, the life they had built from nothing but hard work and faith in each other. Sam came up behind her, moving more slowly these days but still steady, still strong where it mattered. He wrapped his arms around her waist and rested his chin on her shoulder, just as he had done 1,000 times before. 50 years, he murmured. Where did the time go? Into this, Anna said, gesturing at the gathered family at the farm stretching out around them. Into building something that will last long after we are gone. No regrets, Sam asked. Anna turned in his arms to face him. His face was lined and weathered, his amber eyes faded slightly with age. But when he looked at her, she could still see the young cowboy who had offered to fix her fences for nothing but her company. Not a single one, she said firmly. You. Only that I did not find you sooner, Sam said. I wish we had more time. We have had a lifetime, Anna pointed out. And what a lifetime it has been. They kissed, soft and sweet, 50 years of love contained in that simple gesture. Around them, their family cheered and applauded, and Anna heard one of her great-grandchildren ask loudly, "Are they always like that?" "Always," came the amused reply from someone, possibly Thomas. "Wait until you hear how they met." That evening, as the party wound down and the family members who did not live on the property began to depart, Anna and Sam walked slowly up the hill to the north pasture. They visited this spot often, standing at the graves of Anna's parents, telling them about the farm and the family. "We did it, Papa," Anna said softly, touching the weathered headstone. "We saved your farm, and we did more than that, we made it thrive. You would be so proud of what it has become." Sam stood beside her, his hand warm in hers. They had walked this path together for 50 years, and even now, in the twilight of their lives, they still walked it side by side. As they made their way slowly back down the hill, Anna thought about the morning Sam had first appeared, how close she had come to sending him away. What if she had said no? What if she had been too proud or too afraid to accept his help? But she had said yes. She had taken a chance on a drifting cowboy who asked for nothing but her company. And that single decision had changed everything, had given her a life beyond anything she could have imagined. "Thank you," she told Sam as they reached the farmhouse, their home for half a century. "For what?" Sam asked, helping her up the porch steps. "For showing up that day," Anna said. "For staying. For choosing me and this place and this life. For 50 years of partnership and love, for everything." Sam pulled her close, and they stood together in the gathering darkness, holding each other as they had done countless times before. "Thank you for letting me stay," he murmured against her hair. "Thank you for trusting me, for loving me, for building this life with me. You are and always have been the best part of my existence." They went inside together, moving through the familiar rooms of the house they had shared for so long. Later, lying in bed together, Anna felt a deep contentment wash over her. She had lived a good life, a full life. She had known love and family and purpose. She had saved her parents' legacy and created her own. "I would do it all again," she whispered into the darkness. "Every struggle, every hardship, every moment of fear and doubt, I would do it all again to end up right here with you." "So would I," Sam replied, his arms tightening around her. "In every lifetime, in every version of the story, I would find you. I would choose you. Always." Anna closed her eyes, a smile on her face, held safe in the arms of the man who had worked 3 jobs worth of labor beside her, who had sold everything he owned to save her home, who had given her 50 years of steadfast love and partnership. She had been so alone once, working herself to death to keep a failing farm. Then a cowboy had offered help and asked for nothing but her company. And from that simple beginning, they had built an empire of love that would endure for generations. It was, Anna thought as sleep claimed her, the greatest success of her life. Not the thriving farm or the financial security or even the beautiful family, though those were all wonderful. But the love she had found, the partnership she had forged, the life she had built with Samuel Shaw. That was the true miracle, the real gift, and she was grateful for every single day of it.